Arvindir. He's the assistant coach of KOI ahead of the BDS matchup. First of all, Arvindir, thank you for talking to me. Second of all, can I ask about the search of the identity that KOI needs to win this split? Because you used to be known as the regular season kings, and right now it feels like you're looking for a new title. So how's that going?
Yeah, I mean, we're a bit all over the place, I would say. It's like, yeah, it's just hard. Like, the teams in general changed, meta changed, everything changed a bit. Of course, our team changed as well. I can not really say much to this because I wasn't here last year. But yeah, it's not like super simple to find the identity, but we're trying. So
what did the team look like to you when you arrived?
I mean, it was very different than I thought. But at the same time, I can't, like, it's really hard to say, like, how much Szygenda and all of the change did to the team. Yeah, it was just like not as clear cut everything, and yeah, I mean we're trying to come to the best like point now.
What's their aim with the drafts at the moment? It feels like maybe yesterday was a little bit simpler than the week before. So how are you approaching this week?
Yeah, I mean I think in general the week before we had like really good ideas. Like we played the Kaiser Rakan draft twice that we had practiced, and then versus Fnatic, Frankie just so sorry. So we. Ended up with something that was a bit experimental. Like, I don't think we played that much Kalista Taric before. So, yeah, it's like, it's very different. Like, this split is very different to every other split because you're like so long on one patch, but the meta still evolves. So every time you're a bit late to something, you need to catch up so much. And I think we're like kind of a victim to that, where we didn't really know what we wanted to play at the start. And then like every week we play catch up.
I want to ask you about Malrang as well. This is a player we can't get enough of in the LEC. He is fascinating and just so entertaining to watch. However, sometimes the consistency is questioned. I mean, yesterday, you won the game, arguably, because of him hiding in the pit during that Elder fight. But the 25 minutes before that, well, maybe we didn't see the best from him. So how are you working with him at the moment to get that consistency on point?
And Malrang is for sure special. I think Malrang honestly just needs like trust from his team, and we also just need to like let him like do his thing. Like it's very easy to work with Malrang because we like know that he's never lost in the game. Like he always kind of knows what's going on, and even though it might like seem really weird to even us what he's doing, I always know that he has like the bigger picture in mind. That he knows like he's not just playing on autopilot. Like there's something Malrang never does, and in this scenario, like it's very easy to work with him, and yeah, he's always like an X factor to a team.
Before I let you get ready for the BDS matchup, there's a birthday you're celebrating in the KOI camp, but would you like to...
Yeah, I just want to say quickly, Feliz cumpleaños, Ibai. It's Ibai's birthday today, so I hope we get a win versus the French team as well, so some Spanish-France rivalry on Ibai's birthday.
Oh, well, I think that would be a fabulous birthday present. Thank you so much for talking to me, Avenda. Let's head back to Sjokz and the guys on the desk.
Awesome. Shout out to Danush, and also happy birthday to Ibai, and also Trymbi in the cosplay for their emotes, I believe.
I thought that was Rakan.
Oh, sorry, it was Rakan.
That was Rakan.
I apologize. It definitely was. I don't know if he's going to play like that.
I wonder if that's the same Rakan cosplay that Dracos wore.
It is. I asked. Anyways, KOI. What a game yesterday from KOI. Also a bit of a comeback, but BDS, the opponent they're up against right now, also had an insane comeback versus Vitality yesterday. 11K gold, Yamato. Please, what happened?
This game was so crazy. This was a game where, for some reason, it extended for so long because Vitality couldn't close out. I think the biggest reason was just the work that, of course, BDS put in the early game. The fact that he had 2 Drakes, we don't see them on the screen, so you have to believe me. They had 2 Drakes, which meant that the Soul Point, the Elder Dragon, everything was so delayed that their composition got hyper-scaled. Azir had 4 items, Malphite had 4 items. Malphite, this is the biggest Malphite I've ever seen. Jesus. Malphite.
It's huge.
How else do you say?
Malphite.
Mal.
Yeah. Malphite's great. I love it.
Malphite. You've never said Malphite before?
No, Malphite.
No.
Malphite.
Talk about the game, dude.
Talk about the game, dude. I mean, look, they had a lot of great scaling options, I think, too, with the Malphite, the Zeri Lulu, the Azir on the bot side as well. So eventually they were able to get to this point where they carried through the team fights because they stalled out those Drakes.
For sure. I think a key thing, is just they stayed sharp. Even though we know BDS for making some blunders later on, I feel like they always remain confident. They always play, and eventually they get to those points where they can mechanically express themselves.
And with that win, they were the first team to lock groups yesterday. They're still in first place. They're tied now, though, with G2, and they're continuing their upward trend from Spring. And you're never sure if a team like this, who you don't have the highest expectations of, but who show a lot of promise throughout their inaugural split, if it's going to keep going, Yamato. What do you think it is that has surprised you in terms of how they have leveled up and how they are still at the top of the table?
I think the key thing for me is just BDS. I feel like mechanically can compete, and they're doing push-ups. They're focused physically competing too. They just mechanically, if they find themselves in situations where their preparation is good for Drake fights or Nashor fights, I think that they can always execute well. I think that they have strengths in lane phases that they can convert to big leads. And I think where they kind of fall apart sometimes is in the preparation and in terms of how they set up for objectives and how they leverage Nash. But these are things that you can grow on. Much harder to teach a player how to lane and how to play good mechanically than to figure out a way to group the team together and express themselves in a macro concept way. I think that BDS is for sure legit.
Yeah, and I think that Winter Split sort of showed us that individually they have the ability to compete at a top level within their lanes. I think we have seen some growth team-wide as well, transitioning over into the Spring Split now. And the trick is, can they carry that into best of threes? Because I'm convinced on this team in BO1, but when you're only prepping for one team heading into the weekend, right? I think that's where the challenge really comes. But I think they've proven enough that they can make a really deep run come later this year.
And the good news is, they're already going to play those best of threes. They're already qualified for the next stage. So we will see, rather. And now to head over to our wonderful caster duo, Guldborg and Quickshot.
Thank you so much, Sjokz. Welcome to the caster desk. I'm Quickshot, joined by the big G himself, the corn dog king, Guldborg. Welcome back to the caster desk.
No one gets that joke.
Just for us, of course.
Yeah, okay, just the two of us.
Filling in for Dagda. Get well soon, Dagda. I'm stoked. We haven't got to cast together since Worlds last year, in fact. So it's been a little while. And we're about to jump into a game, BDS versus KOI. Just before we do, I want to play a little quick stats game with you since you're back. Niski is one of 2 players that has played a different champion in every single game. 8 games played, 8 uniques. Which one of these 10 players is the only other one that's played a unique? Quick, give me the answer. Give me the answer. Give me the answer.
I don't know, Adam.
It is Adam. You nailed it. Quick stat champion. Let's jump in a draft. As we do jump into picks and bans, immediately Guldborg, with KOI being on the blue side, they are fighting for a win. If KOI secure it, they will be in the top 8 and the group stage. For BDS, if they win, they will be top 4 and guarantee pool 1 or pool 2 going to group stage. What do you want to see from draft? What champions do you want to see bans?
Yes, I think specifically from the draft side, we've already seen 2 different champions be heavily prioritized from the side of BDS, which of course quite often is that Jinx and Zeri. BDS very traditional in their drafting style as well. In the first 3 picks, they'll usually go for an AD carry, a jungler, and a support on 3 to get the best counter matchup as possible. But just going into comp, he usually gets the Caitlyn ban against him, something I'm looking to see as well going up against him. And he is standard on red side, and maybe you're looking for a Rakan ban as well. I mean, Trymbi even dressed up in it going to the stage. So,
it was so great. I also love the fact that for KOI to actually do a little bit of a hype intro and walk-in, it's against a team that's made a name for themselves this year on the performance side, both on and off the Rift. I think yesterday, I have to give some kudos. Backstage, I thought BDS were going to lose that game to Vitality, and the prediction before the game from you, Guldborg, was that they were going to win. Voted in Crownie, voted on BDS, and they bounced back in dramatic fashion. A large part of it was because of that AD roll, and you can see Caitlyn removed, Xayah removed. No surprises there, but the Zeri is still open, one of those priority picks. Gragas is something I'm looking at. We saw the Ashe just pop up as well. That's kind of fallen lower down the priority list, though.
Yeah, so it's because of the fact that you saw Heimerdinger as well, so it's more like a reaction, a butterfly effect, if you will, of it. Olaf comes out as well, so Szygenda could look for something like a Gnar specifically, going up against Adam. It kind of speaks to the fact that you're either afraid of Adam third picking it on 3, or you have a top laner already prepared that you want to get in the first rotation.
Well, of course, in terms of those top laners, Szygenda's played 3 champions all spring in his 7 games. Gnar, Jason, Cassante. Adam, on the other hand, has played a different champion in every single game. Gnar's removed from the pool, so for those priority picks, where did they go? As you mentioned, Gragas is open available. Sejuani, something we've seen. Malrang's played that twice already. Sheo's got 3 under his belt. Vi open and available. So it's a little bit more like targeted banning here in phase 1.
Yeah.
Teams taking their time. So if this Vi's locked in, no surprise, a little bit of a denial from Sheo.
Yeah, it is. Sheo has been one of those who's been super happy to be a more supportive jungler as well. Wouldn't surprise me if we just saw a response coming through where you just go for either the Zeri with the Lulu on 3 or just, well, as I've already talked about earlier, Varus being up and available, something that we could see from Crownie too. Sejuani, still a possibility.
Yeah.
Still something Sheo could be active with as well. There is an outlier in the top lane, but it would be one of the first times that we would see Adam go for his top laner. All of Spring specifically, they have not picked a solo laner before they headed into the second ban phase.
Every single game.
Every single game in Spring.
I mean, that is a great trend.
And there it is.
And look, that's exactly anticipated. I do think, though, for a team like BDS, they have found a style that works for them, and they have found success. I mean, this Zeri, 3 games for Crownie, won 2 of them. The Sejuani, 3 games for Sheo, won 2 of them as well. And for comp, when we look down the list, Zeri, Kai'Sa, Lucian Draven, Kalista are the champions he's played this spring. And as we have mentioned several times, at Varus, one of those champions you can always dip back into, and it will be secured this time around.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think, oh, the Ashe, you mentioned it earlier as well, Trevor, actually coming out. And this is something you can pivot into if you're expecting an Enchanter to come through on 3. But BDS having the adaptation, it's not the first time they've decided to say, you know what, we're not going to pick an Enchanter with the Zeri. We're going to go for something with Engage. We saw it with the Blitzcrank earlier. It's going to be the Nautilus this time around. But the Varus was very interesting. It's something that we've seen banned against Comp and Crownie specifically without having seen them played it too much. So maybe something of Scrim bleeding through into some of the official games.
I mean, look, that Nautilus has only been played once by Labrov and BDS this spring. However, it is his 3rd most played champion. 10% of all of Labrov's games ever as a professional player are on Nautilus, 22 of his 200. So a lot of comfort on that, and obviously into the low mobility champions of Ashe and Varus. If he's able to land that hook, there's a lot of damage to follow it up. But man, he's going to get bullied in those early levels. And look at the phase 2 bans here. Darius removed from Adam, Twist of Fate removed from Larssen. We're going to see what BDS remove next.
Yeah, as BDS here, I think you just get rid of some of the mid laners. We saw Larssen actually be really good at bridging some of the pressure he got through mid into the side lane on that Twisted Fate. Jay's one of the flex picks you have. And I think what could be really safe for BDS here is just that you can lock in an Azir, you can get that blind pick going into Larssen, and save that last pick for Adam on the 5th pick.
Well, what will the answer be? Will Adam run something new, run his 2nd champion? I mean, Nuke, when we do look down his champions throughout the Spring Splits, a little bit leaning towards those control mages. You've got the Gragas, the Azir, the Victor. He does have a Cassio and a Carly games under his belt. Silas will be removed from the pool. And one would assume that you're going to give that counter pick to Adam, potentially. It's something we've seen a whole lot. See what Szygenda's going to run in the top lane. But I think Szygenda leaning a little bit more towards those tanks with Jace banned away from him, as well as the fact Gnar is removed from the pool. The only other option that he has played is Cassante, at least this spring.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, SC on 4, I think it just makes the most sense here. Team BDS, they're so fundamental. They have their fundamental in checks when it comes to the drafting, when it comes to the gameplay, specifically in the early game as well. So it just makes sense. No, not again. We're back to Corki Azir. Out of nowhere, Larssen bringing in the Corki. When's the last time we've seen a champion like this, Trevor? You would probably know. Renekton comes through from Szygenda as well. And now last pick available for Adam, who's not been afraid to go into a more, well, selfless role as well. We've seen him on the Sion. We've seen him on the Malphite. And he could run it back going into a composition that already has quite a bit of squishies when you look at the fact that there's a Corki, there's an Ashe, there's a Varus, something that's very easy to blow up if you get the engage and has the reliable follow-up.
Oh my word, literally, GB, it's so good to cast you because you know what my brain works like. As soon as you asked me when the last time we saw Corki and Azir was, I was on the production line to our stats team, so I'll get you the exact time and date as soon as they come back to me. The final lock-in is going to be that Malphite. When I think about an Ashe, a Varus, and a Corki without W, and I see a Malphite and a Nautilus and a Sejuani, I start to clench just a little bit because there are a lot of engaged tools that if BDS can execute, they can blow up some of those damage dealers.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be looking at an early game that's going to be very bot lane centric. Whenever we see the double range bot laners come through with a Varus and with an AD carry like Ashe, it draws the attention of the junglers, it draws the attention of the mid laners, and top lane kind of just becomes an island instead. Now for Szygenda as well, 2nd time in a row he plays into a Malphite. Yesterday it was Odo. They were able to claw back from that one, but he did not have a good time against it.
Not at all, and of course for BDS, if they win this game, they secure top 4. If KOI win this game, they manage to secure top 8. I saw a very quick glimpse of some of the best VCT casters in the world joining us here in the LEC studio. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us. Berlin, we're about to hit Summoner's Rift here. The stakes are particularly high. And I think for both of these teams, and I think especially for KOI, they want to pick up that win. They want to make it into group stage, guarantee it. Don't be in the race to the bottom. We'll find out who wins as soon as we load the Rift. I will say just one very quick thing. If that phone comes up and says Neon instead of Zeri, I'll kick you the hell out. Now, getting back into the game, let's take a look at the early game. You mentioned it immediately, Guldborg. You want to look at these duo lanes. I think my eye specifically on Labrov, the early levels going to be a little bit challenging into the Ashe and the Varus. Obviously, the melee champ into the double ranged. But then what do you want to see potentially from either Sheo or playing around it? Defensive, do they play somewhere else?
Yeah, it could just be either 2-camp into 3-camp into bot lane immediately. So pay attention to some of the rune choices here from Labrov. He's gone for that second win. It is a necessity playing into double AD carry down in that bot side. You need the extra sustain. Trymbi, quite crucially as well, has already invested in the sweeper. Not placed the ward in the beginning at all, so he has it immediately. So he can sweep out the area around the river, around the tri-push, moving into the bushes in lane afterwards, because bush control and this specific, don't look at me like that with that smile, bush control is so important in this specific lane. And you can see, there we go. How old are you again, sir?
You double down, you said it again. Oh, thank you,
God,
GB,
I hate you.
So
there we have it, the control.
Thank you. I will say, during the draft, you asked me about Corki versus Azir. The last time we saw was Summer 22. Larssen was actually playing the Azir into Fnatic's Corki. Larssen won that game. So it has been 7-8 months since we've seen it. And look, this is exactly what I expected. Labrov is being bullied, finds the dredge line, finds the root, but the damage is just too high. Piercing arrow, could be able to do it, forced to flash away. And Labrov escapes with his life. Why did you go in?
Yeah, you feel it, okay? It's a tingle. It's like, I can't have an AD carry look at me like this. But look at the summon spells from Trymbi. And look at the summon spell from Comp. It is heal and it's barrier. They are way tankier than it seems. Look what it's paired into. It's cleanse from Crownie. And this is why this lane became so suppressive in the beginning of the year, because level 1 engaged champions do not get to play the game whatsoever.
And not only that, it's also into the Hail of Blades Ashe. That's done so much damage. Look at the minimap. Labrov's making his way down. Sheo's going to get spotted out by the Hawkshot as well, so information available to them. And this tower's going to take a beating. Look, this is how the lane was kind of expected, but going in is going to put you even further behind.
Yeah, so all you need right now is just extra vision control to track Sheo again. Where's he going to be? Can we keep hammering down on the plates instead? Malrang now being spotted, moving around the wolves. Nuke has the intel around this. And for the majority of the early game, once again, Trevor, this is all it's going to be about. Malrang is spending a lot of time bot side, but he still has his blue pop off. At this point in time, though, it is very much a Malrang classic.
Very much a Malrang classic. And where does he find the opportunities? Because he has been one of the more creative junglers, been able to find influence in the game. Right now, Sheo's camping out in the middle lane. So both junglers shadowing that particular lane and making their way towards bottom. You have to remember, Crownie and Labrov, they're already down 10 CS right now. And Labrov's breaking up to help out their blue buff, and here comes Malrang.
Yeah, and once again, get that vision control, see if you can push them away from their own jungle. You want bot lane to be completely owned by KOI. For BDS, you need to be patient about it. You need to wait for a mistake, and it might present itself.
Trymbi's got the flash and the barrier, and I don't think it's going to matter. He stepped too far forward on top of the ward, and he just gets punished.
That's exactly what it is. That's a mistake from Trymbi. You need to be patient. One mistake, and you get caught off guard. That's why some people are still happy to play the engage into double range, because they know if you get hit, you're dead.
It completely undoes the advantage that Comp and Trymbi had built up from that level 1.
Oh, yeah.
The kill was secured by Crownie. He's now balanced out the CS, and he gets the first blood bonus. While that's going on, we did catch a brief glimpse there of Nuke shoving in to Larssen into that middle lane. On the top lane right now, Szygenda going for the trade. Ruthless Predator and Call the Meek. That's the one slice. Flash is available. Here comes Malrang. Here comes Sheo. Once again, that Call the Meek goes out. Shigenda's got the rage. The flash forward. Insta-reply. Man, those trigger figures from Adam was beautiful.
They were both ready for that one. Szygenda's still very adamant of wanting to get this wave crashed. He can get it. he can get a favorable back where he doesn't necessarily have to expend his TP. Sheo, though, still around, and so is Malrang. Both junglers are completely mimicking each other on the map.
Oh, it's waiting for the cooldown. She has still got the flash available to him, so it's a trade of flashes. Szygenda got his, Adam does not. Sheo has his, and Malrang doesn't. I will comment that for the first 5 minutes or so, while Malrang has maybe been a little earlier to a potential play, Sheo has been shadowing. He's been there just a moment or two later. I don't want to say reading him, that's a strong word, but what we will notice is immediate response. Labrov roaming. Remember, he moved first to defend blue, set up first blood, and he had the opportunity to make a play mid, but nothing's available to him.
Yeah, because BDS probably had the intel that the blue buff had not yet been taking, so if they wanted to look for a skirmish on the top side, they could have done so with the help of Labrov. But just due to timings and for the sake of Crownie, Labrov has to head down to bot lane again as soon as possible, or he's going to be starved of XP and minions going into a double range there bot lane.
I mean, right now, level 3 there for Labrov. We'll take a look at the levels. On the side of your screen, you can add him. Seeing at top, followed by Szygenda and Larssen. And as you can see, at level 4 and 4, Crownie does have that small advantage for now, thanks to the alone time. But they have to evolve. I have to avoid that CC on the range damage.
Oh, that's a hook.
Here comes Sheo. Depth charge does connect. Comp has still got that flash, and the heal was just used. Here comes Malrang from the side. He'll start to charge up the denting blows. Comp flashes for his life, but Crownie gets him with the right click. Now, looking for the reply. Malrang is getting chunked down, burst down. There's not enough damage from that support Ashe. But here comes Nuke, looking for the re-engage. And Zeri will once again find another. Labrov is landing hook after hook after hook. You're going to run for your life, Malrang. While that is going on, he decides to peel back towards the tower. There's a 1v1 in the top lane. Empress divide, the slide, the glide does not matter. And BDS dominate KOI.
Absolute ruthless from BDS there as well. They just have the timing down to perfection. Sheo is there way before Malrang on a slow pushed wave, and Malrang needs to be there.
Man, fantastic play. I was so ready to throw Labrov's Nautilus under the bus after that level 1.
Well, that's not really... All right, go on.
That was justifiable.
Go on, go
What
on.
I will say is, every single play since then, the blue buff, the roam to mid, the dive bot, BDS juggled that aggro on the tower damage so exquisitely. Zeri is 3-0-1 at 7 minutes.
Yeah, so let's have a look at it. You can see there's a bigger minion wave right now from Comp. Obvious big mistake from Trymbi getting caught here. Also huge credit for Labrov for weaving in that hook right there. But when you have this bot lane, there needs to be a support for your jungler to push it in. And that's why I called it out in the early game already. This entire early game is going to be bot-centric. Your entire game plan is going to come down to how is this bot lane going to work. So already now, you can imagine it's quite disastrous for KOI that the bot lane is looking like this.
I completely agree. There's not many other words I can use. I want to see how early Crownie gets his Mythic up for. And despite the setup here, Malrang just couldn't do anything. So many minions. Nuke gets out of range, so he's got the assist. Sheo, 100% kill participation, along with Crownie and Labrov. I may not have a lot of time to look at these numbers, so quickly run through them, because coming into the game, we wanted to look at Comp and Crownie, and look, this is where all the focus has been. There's going to be another dive.
Might be. It is spotted out on the vision control here. You can see Nuke and Sheo down here as well. Some of the spells up for Trymbi, not for Comp though.
Dredge line hooks once
It's
again.
over.
Comp is dead. Absolutely no way around it. The 4th kill secured. Comp's only with 274 gold. This is turning into destruction.
The problem is, you have a bot lane that's supposed to be aggressive. You have a bot lane that's supposed to get the plates, and that's the only way that it functions. It doesn't work on the tower. It doesn't work when the other bot lane suddenly gets ahead. And that situation has now happened.
It has. Adam, by the way, used the Unstoppable Force. It was replied back with the Dominus. Small advantage for Szygenda, but he hasn't been able to run away with control in that lane. Larssen has been able to generate a 15 CS lead. That's nearly enough gold for a kill to at least separate them. But I think for KOI, the gigantic disparity in bottom lane, 1,500 gold up for Crownie, is going to be problematic, and I will bring those stats up once again because Crownie has just been fantastic. GD at 15th, 3rd in the league, CSD 1st in the league, K+A 4th in the league, 4%, the amount of time he plays aggro in the face of his enemy, the highest in the league. By comparison, Comp and Trymbi have really struggled in the 2v2 and the duo lanes.
Yeah, it's such a stark contrast to the performance this bot lane used to have, and for something that's... They were so known for playing this specific style as well, with the range down towards the bottom side as well. But I think huge credit to Sheo as well, because he is the one who enables the bot lane of BDS so often. He is the one who's willing to play selfless. He's the one you see on Sejuani, see on Vi, be a complete meta slave for his AD carry.
Meta slave. I like that one. The one thing I will say though is, with the gigantic advantage in the 5 kills, it is only 1,200 gold. I realize I'm looking for silver linings here, right? But the Immortal Shield Bow has been secured for Crownie, and he's fighting into a quiver. That's it, right? Gigantic lead. What I'd like to see from BDS is how do they manage to push this? Because the Rift Herald was secured by Malrang, and let's not deny the fact that at some point, if BDS don't manage to press this advantage, Larssen will be able to just pop some kids with that missile barrage.
Yep. Speaking of, well, actually, no.
I don't think he's under threat. Yeah.
I'm not going to go further.
Look, it's a beefy boy. This giant rock is going to try chase down Szygenda, clears the wave out. Unstoppable Force will be on cooldown. More importantly for me, teleport available. Herald's going to get charged up. Thank you, Berlin. That's the cheers I like to hear. And it won't take the tower. It will give more plates and more gold to Larssen, who's the only kind of beneficiary here on the KOI side in that mid lane.
Yeah, so let's try and present some of those silver linings as well, because you have pick potential as well coming out. Adam, no flash, no
flash.
ultimate, should just go down here.
Yeah, Szygenda's already used his, and Adam will get run down. Denting blows to the face. First kill of the game for KOI. It lands in Malrang's hands, and while that's happening, bottom lane's under threat. Sheo's got the ult available. Pop that blast cone, and let's go for a tower dive.
Yeah, there's no TPs whatsoever from the side of KOI. On the side of BDS, though, Nuke still has his. He's got the first move as well, so this should be a tower dive in the making.
The mini wave was cleared out. Okay, so good job here from Trymbi and Comp. They use the AoE, they use the piercing arrow, the volleys to clear them out. Without the minions, even at this level with the advantage, you can't tower dive. And please do not forget, with the Rift Herald gold, the CS advantage on the top half of the map, this game is dead even. It's going to come down to the Corki, Renekton, Vi versus the Zeri Nautilus. And right now, there's even a battle over the chickens, and Sheo's going to be able to get out.
Yeah, but you can already see on the minimap right now, the amount of vision that BDS has gathered for themselves. They have full control right now wherever Malrang is moving down towards the bot side. And it's not just about tracking Malrang when he is in the bot side, it's when we do not have vision on him, we know he's top side, and we can safely walk down with Nuke, with Sheo, down towards a path in the bot side. Now, Larssen does have Flash and Valkyrie, so should be out.
Yeah, manages to escape. Labrov not in range to go for that depth charge. So Larssen still sticking around for now. Look, 3 members of BDS. Ashe arrow's available. He's in the base. He's going to be fine. I mean, that was so predictable here. What target does it land on? To Nuke underneath the tower. Punch him in the face, Malrang, and shoot him in the back. Larssen to pick up the 2nd kill.
And that is the other silver lining. When you get that level 6, you still have the ultimate available.
Larssen Valkyrie's away.
It's becoming a bit of a special for Larssen to dodge these Malphite ultimates. They did it against XL yesterday as well to find that last team fight to get them back in that game. This time around, picks up a kill on the arrow. Szygenda now, with some free time on that top lane, can get that turret plating down for himself. And this is what you need to look for with the Ashe, because there's no longer any advantage to present to yourself down in the bot side. You have to find it elsewhere on the map, and that's what KOI is doing.
The question is, can Larssen dodge every single one of those abilities? Right now, he's been able to get out of the singles, but once you have the hook, the ulti from Malphite, the ulti from Sejuani, there are a number of targets that can, a number of abilities that can lock you down. KOI are in the lead. That is not something that I was expecting, and Szygenda once again pressing the advantage. He's got the Black Cleaver completed into some thrift shopping here from Adam. He's got himself a minus CS advantage, and I think more importantly for me, it has felt like Szygenda's controlled this lane. I think it's what you would want to see from a Renekton into a Malphite. And for Adam's few unstoppable forces, he's not found an impact to generate a lead, at least on the top half of the map.
Yeah, for Renekton into Malphite specifically, it's about really utilizing the fact that you can shred armor with your secondary Fury E, and Renekton has been really good at doing this game, but something on BDS end instead is the fact that they've had really good Drake control, not just in this game, but throughout all of their games. And now, once again, they are taking control of the red side jungle around that Drake area. Malrang meet Sheo, but they just greet each other shortly.
Thank you for the picture-in-picture there from our observers. The Ashe arrow will not find the target, I think just a second early. The package has been collected by Larssen. And remember, he can use that package to get great bush control and be able to push BDS back, get rid of them. And that's exactly what BDS is doing. They're respecting the power. The dragon is up as well. This is the 2nd of the game, but it'll be the 1st for KOI, and it will be uncontested. So now all of a sudden, the game is completely shifted. It is in KOI's favor. They at least are dictating the tempo. They have bought enough time to stabilize comp in that bottom lane, and they've held onto the towers as well.
And this is so great, because with the tempo that the game had, BDS would have been able to get on Soul at 24 minutes into the game. When you look at a champion like Corki, You can't really allow to let that happen. So KOI picking up this Drake, buying themselves that extra 5 minutes is superb. And it's not just the fact that it came down to the package, it's also the fact that Adam did not have the teleport at the time. He did not have his ultimate either.
Yeah.
And because of that, BDS was forced to forfeit that Drake.
I love the callouts on Adam's ultimates because I do think he's been a little bit like willy-nilly throwing it around. I'd like to see Adam be a little bit more deliberate with that unstoppable force. You can see now Labrov making his movements around. Labrov has been hugely influential in setting up positive plays for his team. He's comboing with Sheo. So 3 members, but Szygenda kind of recognizes, started to back away immediately, doesn't stay under threat, and while that's going on cross map.
Yeah, look at the map movement instead, right? You have a scenario where KOI already know that they have the entirety of their top side no longer in their control. Immediately, all the members went down towards the bot side. All the BDS members are going to go up towards the top side here instead. Mid lane can get pushed in. It's quite low, but they're just going to use it to leverage the fact that currently there is no vision for them here, so they don't know what they're walking into. They're going to play it safe.
Going to play it safe indeed, and it's still only a 600 goal game separating these teams. Szygenda slices and dices over the wall. It's a split map for now. And I'll take this brief moment just to remind you, if you have just joined us, standings on the screen in a moment, right? Team BDS with the win here, they lock top 4. KOI with the win here, lock top 8. Crucially, they get to the bracket stage. They get to the double elimination groups. They get to the best of 3s. And frankly, I do expect kind of both of those scenarios to actually happen by the end of the weekend. We have, what, 13 more games to play, 8 more games to play. And there may be a number of tiebreakers in our future. Because, of course, Vitality also looking for the top. I cannot wait, GB. I'm very stoked. But give me a summary of the game, because I thought it was over from level 1. Hasn't panned out. As we're now moving into a little bit of an open map, 1 tower down, how do you like both of these teams kind of scaling options and, let's say, mid-game skirmishing and team fights?
Yeah, for sure. Like, top side of the map, or at least Larssen, will continue to have that scaling aspect and will be super scary in later team fighters when he has that package available to him. But I think the all-out team fight, when it happens, if KOI is not playing around their CC and the poke from Larssen, they're going to be struggling because they're playing into so much hard engage. You see the Nautilus ultimate, you're scared. You see the Sejuani ultimate, you might be scared. You see the Malphite ultimate, you might be scared. If this CC is not dodged, it's going to be super difficult for you to play it.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Execution on kind of both sides. I want to also keep close eyes on the flashes, summoner spells, because I do think that flash shield, flash barrier, very important. Those low mobility ADCs. Adam's going to hop over the wall. The giant blast goes thanks to Chemtech Rift, and support coming from Labrov, support coming from Sheo. I don't think they want to dive the Renekton, instead take the second tower here for BDS. That will be traded by KOI on the top lane. I like seeing the cross maps. There's a level of coordination and communication from both teams that is working out.
That's the reason why the game feels kind of slowed down at this point in time, at least in contrast to what we saw in the early game. Because KOI is just really good at cross-mapping. They're not handshaking any of the players. Instead, they're trying to look for something else where on the map where they know the members are not. So they're gathering what they can, and they're keeping the gold lead completely even.
That just means we're going to have very, very spicy team fights. Both teams have kind of slowed the pace down. And we're 90 seconds away from the next Drake. So, Guldborg, look at the mini-map for me. Let's look at vision. We were just practice casting the previous game and felt some of the vision could have been a little better. How do you feel about the setup right now with 1:20 to go? And it looks to me at least like BDS making the first move. Observers even zooming out to highlight the wards.
I mean, this is very neutral vision right now. You can see Labrov is actually in a position where he just dropped all his wards. He's going to now reset 1 minute before the Drake, and then he's going to deploy new wards. It's something a lot of support players will do, where they will just have a reset, just put the wards down, and immediately reset after again, just to make sure that their vision control would be there. Because it becomes a bit of a ping pong, then enemy support comes in and sweep. Now you need wards again, so it's just to be ready for it. So that initial vision control you were talking about, Trevor, it's only going to start to come down on this reset, and you can see it. BDS is coming out of the base, KOI is coming out of the base, and they're going to both be fighting for it.
I'm so glad you're here to cover for me. One thing I will say, though, is 2 teleports on the side of KOI. So Larssen, level 13, got an advantage over Nuke in that regard. He's pushing the top wave, shoving it in. BDS will at least step in, clear out the control ward, and we will be setting up for an engage. Both teams with 1 dragon, so this is not exactly the make or break Drake for the fight. And I think very, very important, keep in mind, Sheo's still got that Rift Herald. So if they get drawn into an extended Dragon fight setup, they cannot capitalize or maybe make the best use of that Rift Herald.
Yeah, but Larssen very happy now. He gets the push out here. His package should be up coming up rather shortly as well. Sheo might be forced to utilize the TP if he would join the fight, if KOI was to instantly go down there. But you can already see it now. The vision control and the setup BDS gathered for themselves is strictly superior. And it gives them some time to actually make a move if KOI was supposed to just walk into the river immediately.
If you want KOI to win this fight, they need to control Crownie. They need to avoid the quick plates. He's just picked up his second. Labrov will connect onto the Croc. Chain of Corruption is thrown out. The package has been secured and the Corgi wants to fly, dropping bombs from afar. 7 are up, that's already a gigantic missile barrage. Rift Herald goes out and Labrov will not find the next target. There's no wards behind the members of BDS and they are in fact pushed a little bit away. So KOI may have control of the river if they continue to step forward, and it feels like that's what's happening.
Yeah, all we're waiting for right now is just a specific engage. Malphite can look for it here, but there's also the Ashe ultimate ready for Trymbi, should they look for it.
Oh, missile barrage goes out. Larssen this game gonna need to pump up those damage numbers. He's around 150 damage per minute. The highest he's ever done was 1230 against SK. And he's got some beefy targets to shoot down. Szygenda gets caught backwards. Cease and desist forward as all of a sudden that dominance is needed to just save Szygenda's life. Here comes the package! Larssen, however, cannot find the damage. Defensive flash of the wall from Crownie. It's a 1-for-1. The sliding glide, Emperor's Divide is dropped. The BDS should clean up this fight. There's no follow-up. Here comes Malrang with the denting blows and the re-engage. He's taken out an ace for BDS.
And it's the patience, Trevor, here. The fact that you hold your ultimate so long, waiting for Larssen to dive in. Adam, he was so meticulous and patient with that one. And all the ultimates just come layering across afterwards. Nuke with the slide and divide, as you said there. Strictly beautiful.
And Crownie was able to flash away from the threats. He had the second item picked up, already had the DPS advantage. More importantly, BDS played that great. Adam will escape with his life. They got a little closer. As the Baron is secured, all 5 members for BDS. It's a minor gold lead, but it's a much bigger control
Let's
impact.
have a look at it again, because this is something that's been the bane of BDS. So many times they've dropped their games at a Drake specifically. This time around, though, they're doing a very good job at keeping the fight completely split up. Sheo drops his ultimate immediately of the fight, and this is where it looks like a good fight for KOI. Larssen sees his moment to get in there. You can already see the low HP bars as well, but Nuke as well, he sees his moment and he seizes it, and it's just that easy afterwards.
Also, you can see the long-range engage from the Corki from the Vi. It just took too long from Ashe and Varus to get up. I think the piercing arrow was flashed away from by Crownie. I don't think it would have killed him, but it would have put him low enough that would have been significantly harder. Look at that. Nuke and Crownie doing all the damage they need. So BDS get the Baron. They now can control the lanes. Remember, it's still only 2 towers apiece. And Adam, well, he's get jumped on. Gets stunned in place, but this is a beefy rock. Gets himself a mud slap to the face, and BDS just take a tower completely for free.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just a wall there, taking punches as he will. And now bot side is being pushed in. You can put in mid lane at the same time. You're just playing on 2 lanes. Larssen is doing a good job at the top side to try and get something back for his team. But it's really difficult. He can only get so much. He gets to tier 2. What's the cost on the other side of the map? Well, it's the turret in the bot side and the inhibitor. Adam can push in the next mid lane wave. The rest of the team from BDS can look towards the Drake as well. The pressure is just immense with this Baron.
Really, really well played. I want to call back to the fact that it was crucial for Adam and Sheo to use those ultimates well, synchronize them together. They did it at the Dragon fight. They did it when KOI grouped up, and that's what's unlocked. 3 towers, the Baron. I mean, this Rebel Baron power play is huge. Here comes Sheo, once again looking for the Crocodile, turns him into a pair of boots. That was just easy and clean. Now in a 5 versus 4, yes, the minion wave has been cleared out, but KOI, they cannot stand toe-to-toe. Despite that, Renekton having some impact in the side lane, he just will not have the same influence in these team fights.
Yeah, it's the difference in how the early game was playing out. Malrang looking.
He's looking, jumps onto Crownie, the shield comes out, but look, nobody can get past the front line. Comp and Trymbi are held in place by Adam and Sheo. Crownie stepping all the way forward, finally gets taken out by the missile barrage. Comp will be the next target, and ultimately that's a 1-for-2 trade that you are happy with. They get themselves another tower, and BDS extend their control and their lead.
Yeah, 30 seconds on Larssen and Comp, 10 seconds on Szygenda, so I don't think they can end here, but they still get what they came for. Mid lane turret, a couple kills, the resets can come through with the Baron, and you can continue once again. Drake's still on the cards, but let's be honest, that soul will most likely not be a win condition in this game.
No, not the case at all. I mean, look at this engage. What do you think of this engage from KOI? To me, it feels a little bit like chasing the loss.
I mean, it's desperation as well, but I think it's a good look initially because you have a good setup for it. Everyone of BDS wasn't there just yet. Larssen had a good trajectory to get in there with the Valkyrie to set up the ultimate and his Q at the same time, but unfortunately, not just fighting BDS, you're also fighting, well, the inflation on your team. The gold is just not the same.
No, it really isn't. That goldie now to 4,000, and just before this next dragon secured, for any newer viewers, as Trymbi looks like he's going to get run down. Smacked in the face, Unstoppable Force comes out. Nuke will use those conquering and shifting sands, once again sending the soldiers forward. It's just so easy for BDS. Any new viewers that have not watched, they placed 9th in Spring 22. They placed 10th in Summer 22. They placed 7th in Winter of this year. And right now, they're on the cusp of winning against KOI, a defending champion from last year. And they're on the cusp of making the top 4 in the regular season, their highest place, and they're earning those victories.
Quite honestly, Trevor, I believe BDS has become one of the teams that's the best at playing League of Legends by the book, which is really interesting because it's something that we used to credit KOI a lot with. But BDS, man, they just don't lose.
They really don't. Will this be the greatest caster curse? We'll find out in a minute or two. Adam's got no ultimate, so despite him standing in the bush, he did not have control of it. Needs to back away. And for BDS, 4 minutes until the next dragon. They've got 2, so that soul will take some time. Baron is still 1 minute and 50 away. Yes, there's supers in the bottom lane, but if I am going to put my Hopium hat on, KOI have some time to play with, but they cannot keep conceding. They cannot be disengaged on those
I give you
fights.
precisely. They have 1 minute and 30 seconds to play with.
Next
they
Baron.
need to respond to that Baron. If that Barons go over to BDS, they lose no members. The siege is just going to be too easy. You're going to find a team fight at the Nexus. They're going to lose, and the game is over. That Baron is pivotal.
I mean, look at all the itemization here, all right? So you got 2 items on the side of Crownie into 3, sorry, 2 for comp onto 3 on the side of Crownie. The only advantage for KOI is these 3 items for Corki. 2,000 gold up. He needs time to get those missile barrages out, and the production team has thrown up the total damage this game. I think it's a little unfair here as Adam's kind of just face-slapping a crocodile for 20-odd minutes. But crucially, for Larssen, he needs to find impact on those rockets. He needs time to have that work, similar to Varus.
Yeah, but also speaking of time, you can already see now stopwatch being picked up by Nuke and by Crownie as well. So even when you go for these team fights, even when you're looking for the pick potential, when Malrang is diving in, as a buy, you usually want to look for the AD. You usually want to look for the mid laner. That's going to be very difficult now.
And that's where I think we do go back to draft, and I think maybe could have had a few more questions, like how do you follow a Vi and a Renekton when you're an Ashe and a Varus? I think maybe the idea would have been use the Ashe to set up more picks, but Trymbi never got a chance to. BDS strangled the life out of the bottom lane, and once they opened up that tower, BDS have been very, very proactive. Labrov has spent so much time roaming around this game, and that's why they've got 7 towers. That's why we're 10 seconds from Baron. There's not a lot of vision set up, but Larssen's going to start backing. I can't see if the package is available to him, but we're getting it set up. There we go. Thank you very much. Doggy Biscuits acquired. One more fight. This could be do or die for the Fishy Boys.
Yeah, so you at least have the Hawkshot to give you some vision here. You don't need the blue trinket. They tried to duo start it, but with the package coming about, you're not going to split yourself up immediately. You still win in an all-out fight. So remember from KOI, if they can find the pick, if they can find the poke, that's what they're looking for.
Flashes for everybody but Labrov. Adam is stepping forward, waiting to pull the trigger, looking for a target. They've managed to catch out Larssen. Enchanted Crystal are bought enough time. That means Adam can't throw it down. Szygenda throws in the Dominus and forced to run for his life. That's Malrang caught out. Sheo zoning away the rest. The Empress Defy throws the Crocodile as well as fight to the side. Szygenda's going to use his stopwatch. Beautifully played from BDS. The patience was great. And as Labrov chases down Trymbi, another dredge line secures the kill. Absolutely no chance for KOI.
Yeah, I mean, what can they do as well, right? They fell so far behind with that AD carry and their support pick that, yes, they even out the gold with their mid laner in Larssen, but in the compositional vision of this game, it's just not going to matter. There's so much easier execution on BDS, so when the team fight starts, you can see it. Larsen's poke was minuscule. The team fighting, when it started, it just got hammered home for BDS.
And I mean, that could have gone even worse if the Enchanted Crystal didn't stop the follow-up engage. Look at this, yeah, as soon as BDS stepped forward, KOI are just trapped. There's too much AoE CC to worry about.
Yeah, and also the fact that Larssen has to use his ultimate as a disengage, just getting the hell out of there. Szygenda wants to be part of the action, but he's still just a crocodile that barely got CC to get in on the back line. All that KOI is left doing is hitting front lines, and it don't matter.
It really doesn't. Yesterday, BDS took down Vitality. Vitality, one of the teams that was favored to make it to finals. KOI, formerly Rogue, they won Summer last year, and they're on the verge of losing to BDS. BDS will take sole control of first place at 6-2 if they close this out. They're guaranteed top 4, and this is one of the youngest teams here in the LEC. Well, the real question is, can they keep this up in best of 3s? That's what we need to keep our eyes on, because we know they're going. The question is, how high will their seeding be? And it feels inevitable to me that they're going to knock this Nexus over.
It's a very real question as well to have, because we saw the same signs of life from them last winter split, and they faltered in the group stages, not moving forward towards the playoffs. But this time around, though, they just seem even better. They are by a good margin, one of the best teams we have in the LEC.
Adam's going to engage, just knocks up Malrang. There goes Crownie, throws down the ulti. Szygenda's forced to run for his life. This Crocodile does not have the HP or the armor to stand toe-to-toe. Inhibitor was secured in the bottom lane. The waves are pushed into the middle lane, and for BDS, they've got themselves a third dragon to secure. You said it about 10 minutes ago, Guldborg. This is a team that plays League of Legends by the numbers very well. They are not going to stick around more than they need to.
Oh,
but they catch themselves. Larssen, he gets rooted in place as well. Not going to be followed up on. Sheo's got no ulti to his name. And with Baron and powered minions, the siege continues. Crownie will use that stopwatch. BDS may want to go for this final push. They can still fall back and play Dragon, play it safe, spend the money they've accrued. 5-1-6 in the top lane, 2-0-10 in the jungle, 3-1-9, 7-1-7, 0-1-2. I mean, every single one of these players is performing fantastically against KOI.
Oh, they definitely are. The only one who had a hard time in the laning phase was Adam. But let's be real, he's playing Malphite into Renekton and had Malrang around him as well at times too. Drake comes out, any backtimers being stopped? Oh, Sheo. Nothing happens.
Yeah, it's about sending a message.
Yeah, I just thought it was a little win for them. They got
It's about sending a message, you know, dat Ashe, yo. Lands ECA. I mean, Trymbi is 2 levels down from Labrov.
Yeah.
Comp 2 levels down from Crownie. Larssen, the only player here on KOI that really had any sort of advantage, but unfortunately the game just fell apart around him. Bottom lane went so poorly that that advantage was pressed everywhere else. And for KOI now, I think they're going to hope for a overstep from BDS. But I don't think it's going to happen.
You are you are very generous here. You are very, very generous. I think even an overextension, it might not even get them what they're looking for. Maybe if they Nexus dive and the Nexus turret is there to help you, you might be looking at something. But there's 2 inhibitors down. You're just waiting for super minions to come in from the mid lane. You're waiting for the super minions to come through from the bot side, and you're playing it patiently.
Well, here's Adam. Got the ultimate, no flash. Labrov will at least buffer the hook to get away to safety. Trymbi's used the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so we're going to be looking for Comp's Chain of Corruption. Szygenda gets pulled forward. The chain starts to split. Adam has still got the Unstoppable Force, uses it defensively. And at the very least, KOI hold the line. They defend the top tower, they defend the top inhib, but they have super minions point, 2 of them in the bottom wave, and they'll at least catch this middle. So again now for BDS, they can decide. Do they try go for the slightly riskier push, wait for the next Baron? The options are up to them.
Yeah, I think it was a really good punish by KOI there, seeing that they're not under no threat from the minions just yet. They're still in the middle of the lane and mid lane, still in the middle of the lane down towards the bot side. So they could look for play there without losing anything on the other side. So BDS also a little less patient than you would like them to be, but they're just going to go out on resets and they're just going to come straight back out there.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. I mean, when you start looking at the total gold throughout the course of the game, I mean, so much difference. 16,000 to 12,000, 8,000 to 6. I mean, it's just gigantic advantages.
Larssen, you gotta be a hero.
Every single one of the thing for me is, Larssen doesn't have enough time. Szygenda gets burned through so quickly, Malrang dives so deep, that if Larssen is trying to fire those rockets, it also makes him a target for Sheo and Adam.
Yeah, but the thing is, Larssen is already a threat. Larssen is already doing a lot of good damage. Larssen is already keeping KOI kinda in this game. The problem is, there's no follow-up to that. Your ADs are not doing any damage whatsoever, and that's even despite the fact that you have 2 Black Cleavers as well, trying to reduce it. They don't stack, but it's just the fact that you have multiple that can apply it.
Trying your best to shred through that front line, trying to stay alive long enough. I will say that at least Comp and Trymbi have flashes available for this next fight, but they need a miracle. Crownie is about to hit level 18. He's 17 at the moment. Got himself the GA as well. 4 items completed. And I think this next Baron up in a minute. It feels to me like Team BDS are going to be playing for that one. Haven't overstayed really. Haven't overextended into the base. Because again, you do have to respect the fact that once you are clumped up, the piercing arrows, the barrage from Corki, it can have a multiplicative effect. So all credit here for BDS. They want to lock top 4. They want to guarantee a pool 1 or a pool 2 seed at worst as we go into group stage.
Yeah, 30 seconds on this Baron. You would imagine that this was going to be the last fight. And I say that in kind of quotation there, because I kind of imagined the last one was going to be it as well. Larssen, full build now on the Corki. Nothing left to gain from him unless he just wants an elixir as well before he moves in towards that Baron. Now 10 seconds on it. And BDS, they do have a hawk shot, so they'll know when this Baron gets started up, but they'll still have to walk all the way there, and they'll have to walk into the engage, into the Lion's Den.
Please do not forget, that's a 4,000 gold lead. That is a Flame Horizon plus 130 CS for Larssen. He needs to go gigantic just to buy time for KOI to come back. Baron has been started. It has been spotted by the Hawk shot. Trymbi, where does the Enchanted Crystal Arrow go? It lands onto the rock, and Szygenda will try to keep the Baron tag. He starts to back away. KOI are trapped.
Look at
it's
the
a
base.
fight on
Look at
multiple
the
fronts.
base.
The Glacial Prison comes forward. Super minions in the bottom lane. Szygenda's caught inside the pit. BDS is surrounding the Crocodile. Caught blocks and Trymbi currently uncontested. But Nuke's going for the win. He's teleported into the bottom lane, and BDS might be losing this fight, or they just might not. Crownie has got so much damage, so much sustain, and standing in front of 3 members of KOI, he is still not taken out. Now all of a sudden, the first stage is focused. Larssen's trying to take out Labrov. The tower has been interrupted. Teleport's now coming in. Inhibitor spawned in the middle lane. Nuke's going so low. Szygenda slices, dices, gets the stun.
no.
The game's not over. And KOI on the Baron pit. That silver lining's looking bright. Dag, Guldborg.
You just called me down. I don't even care. KOI finding the team fight. You can argue BDS was a bit sloppy with it as well. They look for a win condition by TPing down towards the bottom side, but Nuke did not have the reliable damage to actually take care of all the structures. Now with this, they pick up the Baron. Can they get the Drake as well in time? Because Crownie's already on it. No one's around to stop him, so it should still be sold for BDS, but the game continues.
What was that call? They could have gone for the fight. They had the pincer, they had the AoE CC, they had the item advantage, the gold advantage. And the call was to teleport Nexus.
I mean, I'll be honest, I saw the players. Well, I could see, all right, we don't even have to take this fight. I think the problem becomes when you overcommit to play the 4 versus 5, like you can win it. So let's see how it plays out. Again, the call has already come down. We're TPing down bot. You don't have to hard engage. You have to play at arm's length with them. But they decide to fully send it. And by doing so, also sending their own death sentence in this regard. They get cleaned up. They finally are allowed to play the game. And Nuke is not fast enough to take out the Nexus.
I'm so sorry, GB. I was trying to say the letters. I got confused.
That's okay.
Nuke gets taken out. As this replay is playing out, Berlin, I have to ask, do you think KOI will win this game? That's pretty resounding. That's pretty resounding. KOI have got the Baron. KOI have closed the gold deficit, at least as far as the team is concerned. But look at this. Down 59 in the jungle. Down 3,000 in the bottom lane. Ashe connects onto Adam.
Really?
That's actually crucial. Using the unstoppable force to jump away. I'll check the cooldown on that as GB take me through the siege.
Yeah, so it's still just down 1 lane. There's no pressure elsewhere on the map, but KOI can keep that sieging now that they had invested in with Larssen being so far ahead. Minions, though, getting cleaned out, and they're not getting access to actually hitting the turret.
It's a 45-second cooldown for Adam. About a third of the way. Once again, Szygenda gets trapped. Sheo's thrown out the prison. There's no further follow-up. BDS have some of those initiation tools stolen away from them. KOI not done. KOI not done. 1 second. Ashe arrow's available. And he's hiding in the bush. Where does Trymbi fire? Holding on to the trigger, but it felt to me like they were looking for that opportunity. KOI are right back into this game.
Oh, they definitely are, but they still need to get back because they have the pressure in the side lanes. Minion wave is pushing on the top side. Super's down towards the bottom side, and this allows BDS to get access to the rest of the map. Finally getting those aggressive wards down as well. Larssen trying to clear the jungle camps. Doesn't really need it, let's be honest. Full items. Only looking for gold now for his elixirs.
Okay, don't forget that the soul has been picked up by BDS. So the Elder Dragon is coming up in about 4 minutes. The Baron buff will stop in 30 seconds time, and the bottom lane inhibitor respawns in 2. So for KOI, they found that neutralizing Baron, and I think they were gifted an opportunity that they capitalized on. The call to TP did not work, did not end the game. I do still feel that all of the tools are still favoring BDS. I think their initiation options, that their teamfight options are a little bit cleaner and easier, but they cannot have Adam using the ult to run away. They have to be playing on the front foot.
No, but quite crucially as well, Comp has also come online now. Finally having that LDR. The on-hits are finally going to stretch through some of that front line too. And for KOI specifically, can they really keep this as a reliable win condition? We saw it against XL yesterday as well, where it just seemed lost. This time around though, they found one punish on a mistake of the enemy team. They found one team fight, and now they are getting sieged again with BDS nearing their Nexus, going in towards the mid lane off the inhibitor. Can they continue to pull out surprises?
Labrov's gonna be a little bit late to the party. The Sundisk was dropped just behind as Sheo and Szygenda are busy trading. The inhibitor down to about 30%, should about drop. Labrov, Hex flashes forward. Keep your eyes on that Nautilus. He's gonna look for the hook finds a target. He can send anyone packing. Comp, Trymbi, Larssen all have their flashes available. Sheo goes forward, he's holding on to the prison. Dredge line catches onto Malrang. Crownie drops the ult, that's advantage to BDS. Trymbi untouched, so was Larssen, that's the second kill to Nuke. They managed to catch him. Larsen's pulled backwards. His GAS prompt and Szygenda and Trymbi are running for their lives. Under the Nexus, under the steps of their fountain, KOI are finally aced, destroyed in their base, and Team BDS guarantee top 4.
Enjoy the roars. They finally get the game done. Was it as clean as they wanted? Most likely not. But either way, it's BDS with a clean early game. A little messy towards the mid game there, but still very dominant in team fights. Only dropped the ball one time. We talked about it, had been some of their issues, but we saw it against Vitality. Dropped it against the Baron yesterday. Still came back in team fights. Today, dropped that one team fight at Baron. Came back again. So they continue to pull out differences.
On a scale of B, D, or S, when I think about this game, I give the overall play from BDS a B. I think it was good. I give that teleport to try end it a D, a resounding D. It did not play off, but I think that did it again. Guldborg, you really called it well. The opportunity was there.
Just don't say my name.
The opportunity was there, Mikkel, but they weren't able to play the Baron pit correctly. They went all in, started the fight instead of playing patient and controlled. It almost got KOI back in the game. Unfortunately, I think KOI was so far behind, they'd lost too much ground. And their comp, it was just so hard to play into the Malphite and the Sej.
Yeah, it was a very classic BDS from what we've come to expect from them as well. And I think just in terms of reading the game plan, not just from their own team, but the enemy team as well, they've become so good at it.
Yeah, they really, really have. Player of the game nominees at LEC on Twitter, Adam, Crownie, and Labrov are the 3 candidates for you to pick. For BDS, they managed to lock themselves in top 4. They currently have sole control of first place, 6 wins and 2 losses. I think when I take a look down the list, Astralis sitting at 5-3, G2 I think sitting 5-2 if I recall correctly. So it's going to be an interesting pan out. We'll see whether or not G2 can extend that lead when they play Fnatic later today. But I did not expect to see BDS at the top of the table. We'll be back for the next game. I believe interview is ready with Crownie on stage.
On
I'm so
stage,
sorry.
and Crownie, you must be ready for an epic group stage because you've just locked top 4. Congratulations. It was another fantastic team performance from you and the guys. Do you feel like you're playing without pressure today, knowing that you were already into the group stage?
Yeah, for sure. There is less pressure than we played with before, and we kind of just played our game. And even though it was a bit shaky because they have a lot of wave clear, but I think still we played pretty decent, I would say.
What did you think of seeing Larssen pick his beloved Corki, even though Corki's not necessarily the strongest mid lane pick at the moment?
We were discussing some scenarios and we mentioned that he can actually pick it, so we're kind of ready, and it's a bit boring playing against it because obviously the games take so long to finish, but I think we did a decent job, yeah, beside the throw at Nash.
Should we talk about the level 1 as well? It looked like Labrov might be in a bit of trouble. And that's such a tough lane for you guys to play against as well, the Varus Ashe combo. So how did you get yourselves out of that one? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, Nautilus had to base, but I was catching all the minions and I had 4 potions since my boot start. And then when we killed the Ashe in jungle and I got first blood, I kind of knew that the hardest part is over, so it's going to be pretty chill from there.
Right then, let's talk about Nuke trying to take the Nexus and you guys giving up that Baron. Why that decision?
I mean, we were like discussing game what to do, and the ultimate call was to try and end, but we could have easily just fought since we're so ahead. And for sure, Corki package is strong, but it doesn't automatically win you the fight, so we could easily fight, but it's okay to test a bit, you know, and thankfully it didn't lose us the game, so yeah. Watching
you guys on camera when you're on stage, it looks like you and Nuke are doing a lot of the talking, so what did you say to the team in that situation to keep things together?
Well, I told them that it's completely fine because, well, I got the Drake and it's 5 minutes until Elder, until Nash, so the game will be long, it's gonna like prolong itself by a few minutes, but we're still ahead, so we are chilling, you know? It's not the end of the world to mess up.
And up to that point as well, you guys look so disciplined. How have you managed to develop such a calm, focused style on stage?
I'm not really sure. I think it's just, I guess everyone on stage takes it more seriously than in scrims. And we just trust each other. And we believe in each other, and I guess we're just improving over the months, yeah.
Last week I asked Labrov if he feels like you're the best bot lane at the moment, and he said, I'd give us maybe third or fourth spot. But what would you say?
I mean, I would say G2 is probably the best. Other than that, I think me and Labro are pretty close to the top, yeah.
Yeah, I'd maybe put you tied first. Thank you so much for talking to me, Crownie. We're actually going to head over to your teammate, big boy Adam. He's over with Sjokz on the desk.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Frankie. Adam is here, and he'll be staying for the rest of the day, including PGL.
Yes,
here.
exactly.
I hope your management told you already, otherwise, surprise.
Yeah, they did.
Great. So let's walk through this game. Maybe start. I don't know if it's ready yet, but the throw, because Ender was asking you whose call it was, and you said it was me.
Yeah, for like the Nash fight, there was like a big wave stacking on bot. So in the vocal, I saw Nuke that was a bit out of position, so I'm like, okay, maybe we'll try to backdoor. But actually, I think the call might have gone well if the inhib didn't respond on bot. And at a moment, the creeps were out of range on the second turret nexus. So it was a bit unlucky in the end, but we knew that we still had, the advantage of the game. And just by them having Nash, we'll just delay the game by 3 minutes because we cannot push. But in the end, we knew that we would win.
Yeah, and here's what you're talking about, where all the minions get out of range. It's like, wait, Nuke's tanking it. You can't actually get autos down. He's trying to get the attack speed from the W, but that was tough. Also, I'm curious, you're making the call, because you guys went fully all in on the top river fight. You were just trying to do your best to stop bases for as long as possible.
Yeah, we're fighting, and everyone was saying just tempo for Nuke, because we knew Nuke was trying to backdoor. So the main target was cancel every base and see what happens.
Crazy. I like how calm you guys are when things don't go as planned. I also remember back to kind of the Sion incident where it actually didn't go as well because you got hooked, so you couldn't complete your back, but then you guys just kind of reset. And I'm sensing a trend in that. There doesn't seem to be a lot that can get you out of your zone, it seems like. And I want to say that that's pretty recent development, because in the past we've talked about your mid games, for instance. Do you feel like you've taken a big step forward in that department?
Yeah, I would agree on that, especially big shout out to Crownie for that. He's the guy who kind of stabilized the game, in my opinion, especially in the vocal. I do panic a lot in games sometimes, so I need my teammates sometimes to make me calm, to calm me a bit. So having Crownie as a teammate like that in the game can really help, especially in tough moment or unexpected moments. That's a big plus.
Or if he's 4-1 after 5 minutes.
Yes.
That definitely helps. That's what I was going to say, though, because this game, especially bot side, got off to a bit of a rocky start with the early hook all in. It didn't go well for Labrov, but then instantly turning around, really punishing Trymbi, just trying to clear away a ward here, but then converting it later as well into this big turret dive, gank on the bot side of the map. I also think Sheo throughout had done such a good job of sort of following Malrang, always being at the lanes when there was an opportunity for Malrang to find a gank. So this is really nice to see, and that Zeri got monster fed.
Yeah, that's true. When you look at KOI, Malrang is kind of the heart of their playstyle.
Yeah.
If we manage to control him and know where he is and we're able to match him, then I think as a team we might be a bit stronger than them right now. Because I think the confidence might speak a lot in those situations. We knew that we would come up stronger in those team fights, especially in those skirmishes early. So we took advantage from it, and I think early game went pretty well, I suppose.
Yeah, all of the roams out of mid too, you could see in every single play, Nuke, even if he didn't directly contribute, he was always right outside the fog of war, always was trying to use that priority to team up with Sheo and just snowball that bot lane matchup.
Where he needed to be. We also have some replay of the Drake fight, which is kind of nuts, and I believe we also have your pro view to look at after that, so that Malphite gameplay is going to be...
Did you think you had a penta here?
I was actually going for penta, no joke. I was actually, when I had triple kill, I was like, okay, maybe it's my moment. But actually my ulti here, no joke, it was a misclick at the beginning. But I guess in the end it worked out. I don't know, maybe I just knew something that I didn't know already, but I guess it worked out,
That's actually crazy. And then here, just really mean from your teammates, I think. You obviously have Malrang there.
That's true, I had at least a quadro, I think.
Oh, here we go. This is great. Can we learn something in there that we didn't know?
Let's see the mistake.
Look,
wait, it looks like your cursor actually was down.
Yeah.
That was really weird.
I mean,
Spaghetti code.
I was hesitating a bit in my cursor. I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
maybe it's a bug. But I guess he flashed out on my ulti. He might not expect me like to miss my ulti, I
Actually,
suppose.
5 hit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess anticipated that.
Yeah, it looked like you like R'd as you were trying to like flick down with the crosshair just a little bit.
A little bit.
early.
Just
Yeah.
5 hit.
But it was still fine at the end of the day. And wow, BDS, I mean, we've said this a lot, but BDS is growing into like not only a team that is doing fantastically in the standings and plays great League of Legends to look at, but also kind of a fan favorite in terms of everything you do around it, yourself included, of course. So how has the experience been of this year overall, and the fact that you can already be happy that you are locked in a top 4 before the season even ended?
I mean, when you take a look at last year BDS, I mean, I was here in spring. We ended 9th, even in summer when I got demoted. BDS still didn't have a great, they didn't have a great result still. But this year, like, we just came up with a new dynamic, especially on social media. I think the content team is making a really good job. We got new coaching staff as well, and I mean, our team, we're just like on a really good dynamic right now. We are pretty efficient in our work ethics, so that's a really good point. And especially, you know, the fact that we can just talk to each other about what we really think, and not being scared of that someone will just take what we have to say personal, is really also a big plus in a team environment.
Yeah.
That we can say just whatever we want. So I think we're on a good run right now, and I hope it will continue.
Yes, I think a lot of people do. We can talk a little bit about the best of 3s and the best ofs when you join PGL later. For now, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's Team Heretics up versus Vitality.
He's available, he's in the base, he's going to be fine. I mean, that was so predictable here. What target does it land on? To nuke underneath the tower! Punch him in the face, Malrang, and shoot him in the back, Larssen, to pick up the 2nd kill.
Just play with Zeri, play with Zeri.
Yeah, I'm playing with you, Crownie. I still have my ulti, okay? I still have
Play
ulti.
slow. Fuck in the bucket. Oh, nice.
Look Corki.
We're in chase. Look on them. I will go. Varus, fast. Renekton, no flash. Baron, it's Baron after, okay?
Oh, look right.
Baron. You just well played, guys. Adam, you're so good at the... Okay, focus.